Hey, this is Victor Antonio, and today I want to talk about make them think. You ever have employees who always come to you or salespeople who always come to you when they have a problem? Well, let's walk through how we can condition them to making them think for themselves. Let me start out with an experiment that was done by Charles Duhigg in his book, The Power of Habit. A mouse was put in the maze. Yes, that's my best mouse drawing, sorry. And what was, you would hear a click sound, the mouse would hear a click sound, the gate would open, and something interesting would happen. The mouse would meander in and out of the maze, in and out of the maze, always come back. Now over here to the left was chocolate. And we wanted to find out how often, how many iterations would it take the rat to go back, maybe look over here, maybe look over there, maybe look over here. Finally the rat found the actual chocolate. Now when it found the chocolate, it now knew that the next time it was put into the maze, once it heard the click, it would actually just walk down this way, turn left, and it got its chocolate. Well, Charles Duhigg figured out that there's three aspects to creating a habit, because now the mouse or rat had created a habit. It had gone down, gone to the left, got the chocolate. The first part in creating what is known as a habit loop is a cue. In this case, with the click, the gate opens. Then it followed a routine, which is now knew it to go down and then turn left. And right here was its reward, the chocolate, okay? And what Charles Duhigg said is that typically a habit is created, first of all, when there's a cue. When you see the cue, something you see, something you hear, triggers you to do a routine. And then once you do that routine, you get a reward, okay? A good example of this would be that I see all the time is that sometimes you're stressed out. That's the cue, you're stressed out. Then you decide to go get a cigarette. Once you get the cigarette, you get the nicotine hit, that's the reward, and you crave it again. Again, we always do this. We always go into, there's a cue, something that triggers us, we follow a routine, then we finally get the reward. Now, how does this apply to sales and management and coaching and making them think? Well, let me change colors here. Let's say that an employee has a problem, right? Problem is, let's just say it has a problem. Now, the problem is the cue. Something triggered them. They have a problem. The routine then is to go to your office to ask you questions, right, on how to solve it. You will then provide them with information, and that is the reward they seek. And the next time they have a problem, same thing happens. They have a problem. They go to your office and ask a question. You give them information. That's the reward. You've conditioned them to come to your office to actually ask for information. Now, one study found something interesting. 10% of the time when we're talking to somebody as we're coaching them, we're only asking questions 10% of the time. And maybe 20% of the time are we actually listening, okay? And surprisingly, 70% of the time we're doing all the talking. In other words, we're providing all the information. Now this makes sense with this model. Again, customer, salesperson has a problem, goes to your office, and what they're going to do is ask you a couple of questions, right? And then you're going to start giving them the answer. This is where you're talking and giving them information. Now you're asking a couple of questions, maybe listening a little bit, but the majority of the time you're actually just talking. What if, to get them off this dependency, so to speak, we kind of switch this model around? What if you spend 70% of your time asking questions, maybe 20% of the time listening, and only 10% of the time actually giving them information? Now this is important because this is really switching how we coach people. See, by using this percentage model, what we're forcing them to do is that every time the employee comes in with a problem, instead of giving them the answer, they come in, they have a problem, they walk into the office, the routine, instead of just giving them information, now we start asking them a lot of questions. And what are we doing in this questioning process? We're really forcing them to think for themselves. Now, what's interesting is that if we force them to think for themselves, they're going to come up with the answer by themselves, which means that the new routine will be, they have a problem, the new routine won't be to go to your office, but to think for themselves. What we're currently doing today, what I see a lot of managers doing today, is that, again, and I know I'm repeating myself because I want you to really get this, is that when an employee or salesperson has a problem, they'll walk into your office. Then what they'll do is they'll say, here's my problem, that's the routine. Then again, you give them the information. And then a week later when they have another problem, they walk into your office again, you're like, why isn't this person learning? Why aren't they growing? Why aren't they figuring this out? I mean, they've been around for quite a while. Why do they keep coming back to my office? Well, maybe the fault doesn't lie within the actual salesperson, but it lies right here, is that the majority of the time you're giving them the information. You're conditioning them to come back to you every time they have a problem. But if we switch the model around, and now we spend the majority of time asking questions, forcing them to think, and only providing information 10% of the time, we're now giving them, I'll just call it the cognitive tools, the thinking tools to think for themselves. And this is what we want when we manage salespeople today. This is Victor Antonio, always reminding you, selling ain't hard when you know how and you make them think. Take care.
Every manager can feel it. The difference between a motivated, value-driven sales team and one that's stuck in a rut. CEOs know the difference too. They can see it clearly in the profit and loss columns. The question is, how do you get your team to this elite level? Is there something extra you can do to break through the remaining resistance and equip them with the right mindset to grow your business? Yes, there is. But you're not going to do it with one of those cheesy inspirational speakers or some self-proclaimed guru. What you need is someone with a real business track record to deliver key insights in a captivating way, to give your team the right tools for selling in today's tough marketplace. Enter Victor Antonio, experienced executive, innovative thinker, compelling speaker. He's ready to deliver the message you need your people to hear, not with a canned speech, but a customized, dynamic keynote designed to deliver results. Bring Victor Antonio to your next event before the competition does. Go to www.victorantonio.com for more information.